Sir, good afternoon, Mallikarjuna sir. But the
Huh.
principal sir has already
Yeah, he
been.
joined, madam.
He joined, sir.
He joined.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I think it's Dr. Jagannath, right, sir?
Dr. Jagannath Hebbale.
Yeah, I'm making sir also as a co-host.
Better, madam, better.
Yeah.
Anu, shall we begin?
Yeah, we have 63 participants.
Another 2 to 3 minutes, madam. 2 minutes.
Sure, sir.
Another
Sure,
2 minutes. We will
Sure,
wait.
sure.
Okay, madam. We will start actually, and the participants parallelly they will join. Uh, they will join the event, right?
Sure, sir. So we can start, sir, then.
Okay, okay. Good afternoon to one and all. I delighted to welcome today's speaker, Sharanya Prakash, and the president of the webinar, Dr. Jagannath Hebbale, the principal of the college. I'm also happy to welcome my colleagues and student friends to this webinar. Mental wellness and emotional empowerment is the title of the today's webinar. Today's webinar is need of the hour, as we have been facing COVID-19 pandemic since last 1.5 years, and it rapidly sweeps across the world. It is inducing a considerable degree of fear, worry, and concern in the population at large, and among certain groups in particular, such as older adults, care providers, and people with underlying health conditions, more particularly students and teachers. In this context, Internal Quality Assurance Cell of Karnataka Arts and Science Commerce College, with the permission of the principal, has organized this webinar in association with the Skilling India organization. I thank on behalf of Karnataka College, on behalf of principal, the Skilling India, and particularly TV Center sir for supporting this event. So before requesting the president of the function, Dr. Jagannath Hebbale, I will read out the profile of the today's speaker. Sharanya Prakash, Masters in Psychology and graduate from Jain University in Bangalore, India. She has done her Masters in Psychology, majoring in Counseling Psychology particularly. She is undergoing licensing and certification in various concepts which are aid in her therapeutical alliances. Her field of interest within the subject is application-based psychology, which led to interning at various institutions such as Manasa Neuropsychiatric Hospital, dealing with adults with various clinical disorders, and the Richmond Fellowship, which concern itself with psychosocial rehabilitations. This granted her a great exposure to psychological practice at both the clinical and rehabilitation stages. Madam has dealt with students of various levels as both a life skills trainer for the CBSE curriculum as well as a coach for competitive academic section papers for British Council examinations. Madam has been working as a counselor for the last 4 years. Her focus being on young adults, adolescent and family therapy. She also currently conducting counseling and guiding sessions for adults with a focus on mental well-being. So, vast profile of Madam, 100%. We will get the important knowledge about the mental wellness and emotional empowerment. And the Skilling India is doing a beautiful service to the particularly colleges and focusing particularly teachers and students. So with this, I conclude, and my welcome speech I conclude with introduction to the today's speaker. And now I request the principal of the college, Dr. Jagannath Hebbale sir, please give your presidential address, sir.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಮಲ್ಲಿಕಾರ್ಜುನ್ ಸರ್.
Thank you, sir.
ಈ ಮೆಂಟಲ್ ವೆಲ್ನೆಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಎಮೋಷನಲ್ ಎಂಪವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ವಿಷಯದ ಕುರಿತು ಇವತ್ತ ನಮ್ಮ ಸಹೋದರಿ ಶಾರಣ್ಯ ಪ್ರಕಾಶ್ ಅವರು ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸವನ್ನ ಕೊಡಲಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಮಾನಸಿಕ ಸ್ವಾಸ್ಥ್ಯ ಮತ್ತು ಭಾವನಾತ್ಮಕ ಸಬಲೀಕರಣ ವಿಷಯ ಇದು. ಈ ವೆಬಿನಾರ್ ಅನ್ನ ನಮ್ಮ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಕಲಾ ವಿಜ್ಞಾನ ಮತ್ತು ವಾಣಿಜ್ಯ ಮಹಾವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯದ IQAC ಇಂದ ಇವತ್ತು ಆಯೋಜನೆಯನ್ನ ಮಾಡಲಾಗಿದೆ. ಈ ಆಯೋಜನೆ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸರ್ವ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನವನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ನಮ್ಮ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಕಾಲೇಜಿನ ಉಪ ಪ್ರಾಚಾರ್ಯರು ಹಾಗೂ IQAC ಕೋಆರ್ಡಿನೇಟರ್ ಆದಂತಹ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಮಲ್ಲಿಕಾರ್ಜುನ್ ಹಂಗರಿಗೆ ಅವರಿಗೆ ನಾನು ಕೃತಜ್ಞತೆಗಳನ್ನ ಈ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಲೇಬೇಕು. ಇವತ್ತಿನ ನಮ್ಮ ಈ ವಿಶೇಷ ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸವನ್ನ ನೀಡಲಿರುವ ಸಹೋದರಿ ಶಾರಣ್ಯ ಪ್ರಕಾಶ್ ಅವರೇ, ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಮಲ್ಲಿಕಾರ್ಜುನ್ ಹಂಗರಿಗೆ ಸರ್ ಅವರೇ, ಹಾಗೂ ಈ IQAC ಎಲ್ಲ ಆಡಳಿತ ಮಂಡಳಿಯ ಎಲ್ಲ ಪದಾಧಿಕಾರಿಗಳೇ, ಹಾಗೂ ಈ ವೆಬಿನಾರ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಎಲ್ಲ ನನ್ನ ಸಹೋದ್ಯೋಗಿ ಬಂಧುಗಳೇ. ಈ ಕೋವಿಡ್ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಮಾನಸಿಕ ಸ್ವಾಸ್ಥ್ಯ ಮತ್ತು ಭಾವನಾತ್ಮಕ ಸಬಲೀಕರಣ, ಮೆಂಟಲ್ ವೆಲ್ನೆಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಎಮೋಷನಲ್ ಎಂಪವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ವಿಷಯ ಬಹಳ ಪ್ರಸ್ತುತ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಈ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾವಿಸ್ತೇನೆ. ಈಗ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಒಂಥರ ಭಯದ ವಾತಾವರಣದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಇದ್ದೇವೆ. ಇದನ್ನು ಹೋಗಲಾಡಿಸುವ ನಿಟ್ಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಯಾವುದಾದ್ರೂ ಒಂದು ದಾರಿಯನ್ನ ಕಂಡುಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕಾಗ್ತದೆ. ಆ ಒಂದು ಹಿನ್ನೆಲೆಯಾಗಿ ಇವತ್ತ ನಾವು ಏನು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಮಾನಸಿಕವಾಗಿ ಸ್ವಾಸ್ಥ್ಯರಾಗ್ಬೇಕಾಯ್ತು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಪ್ರಾಧ್ಯಾಪಕರಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ ನಮ್ಮ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ನಾವು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಹೇಗ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಈ ವಾಕಿಂಗ್ ಹೇಗ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಮನೆಯಿಂದ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಏನು ಮನೆಯ ಹೊರಗೆ ಅಂಗಳದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ಆಟದ ಮೈದಾನದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ಹೊಲಗದ್ದೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಅಡ್ಡಾಡೋದು ಬಹಳ ತುಂಬಾ ಅವಶ್ಯ ಅಂತ ನನಗನ್ನಿಸ್ತದೆ. ಇದರಿಂದ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಗಾಳಿಯನ್ನ ನಾವು ಸೇವಿಸ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಜೊತೆಗೆ ನಾವು ಸ್ವಾಸ್ಥ್ಯರಾಗಿ ಮಾನಸಿಕ ಸ್ವಾಸ್ಥ್ಯತೆಯಿಂದ ಇರಬೇಕಾಯ್ತು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಆಹಾರವೂ ಕೂಡ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಮುಖ್ಯ. ವಿಟಾಮಿನ್ಸ್ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟ ಹಾಗೆ ವಿಟಾಮಿನ್ B, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಈ ಹಸಿ ತರಕಾರಿ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ನಿಂಬೆ ಹಣ್ಣಿನ ರಸ ಇತ್ಯಾದಿ ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಜನ ವೈದ್ಯರು, ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಅನುಭಾವಿಗಳು, ನಾಟಿ ವೈದ್ಯರೆಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಆ ಒಂದು ನಿಟ್ಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಆರೋಗ್ಯವಂತರಾಗಿರ್ಬೇಕಾಯ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ವಿಟಾಮಿನ್ಗೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟಂತಹ ಉಪಹಾರಗಳನ್ನ ಸೇವಿಸೋದು ಬಹಳ ಮುಖ್ಯ ಅಂತ ನಮಗನಿಸ್ತದೆ. ಆ ಒಂದು ಹಿನ್ನೆಲೆಯಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಬದುಕಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಗುರಿಯನ್ನ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು. ಒಂದು ಗುರಿಯನ್ನು ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಾಗ ಹೇಗ ನೆಮ್ಮದಿಯಾಗಿ ಬದುಕಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ. ಆ ಗುರಿಗೆ ತಕ್ಕ ಹಾಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನಗಳು ಕೂಡ ಮುಂದುವರಿಬೇಕು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ನಾವು ಮಾನಸಿಕ ಸ್ವಾಸ್ಥ್ಯರಾಗಿರ್ಬೇಕಾಯ್ತು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಸಂಗೀತವನ್ನ, ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಹಾಡುಗಳನ್ನ, ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಹೇಗ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ದೂರದರ್ಶನದೊಳಗ ಅಥವಾ TV ಒಳಗೆ ಒಳ್ಳೊಳ್ಳೆ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಗಳನ್ನ ನಾವು ಆಲಿಸ್ಬೇಕು. ಈ ಸಂಗೀತ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಗಳನ್ನು ಆಲಿಸುವುದರಿಂದ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಏಕಾಗ್ರತೆಯನ್ನ ಹೆಚ್ಚುತ್ತದೆ ಅನ್ನೋ ಮಾತು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ನಾನು ಜಾನಪದ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯದಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಈಗ ರಾತ್ರಿ ಮಲಗೋ ಹೊತ್ನಾಗ ಲೆವೆಂಡರ್ ಎಣ್ಣೆಯನ್ನ ಹಚ್ಕೋಬೇಕು ತಲೆದಿಂಬಿಗೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಆ ಲೆವೆಂಡರ್ ಎಣ್ಣೆಯನ್ನ ತಲೆದಿಂಬಿಗೆ ಹಚ್ಕೊಂಡು ಮಲಗಿದ್ರೆ ಬಹಳ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ನಿದ್ರೆಯನ್ನು ಬರುತ್ತದೆ. ಹೀಗಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಹೇಗ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಮಾನಸಿಕವಾಗಿ ಸ್ವಾಸ್ಥ್ಯತೆಯನ್ನ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಆ ಒಂದು ಹಿನ್ನೆಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಈ ನಾಟಿ ವೈದ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿಯೂ ಕೂಡ ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಈ ಸುತ್ತಮುತ್ತ ಇರತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಪರಿಸರದಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿಗ್ತಕ್ಕಂತ ಅನೇಕ ಔಷಧಿಗಳಿವೆ, ಅವು ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಬಳಸ್ಕೋಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋ ಮಾತು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಈ ಧ್ಯಾನ ಈಗ ಮತ್ತೆ ಜೂನ್ 22 ಬಂತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ವಿಶ್ವ ಯೋಗ ಆಚರಣೆಯನ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ ನಾವು. ಆ ಒಂದು ಹಿನ್ನೆಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಇಂದಿನ ಈ ಗ್ಲೋಬಲ್ ಪೀರಿಯಡ್ ನಾವು ಒಂಥರ ಸ್ಟ್ರೆಸ್ಗೆ ಒಳಗಾಗಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಇವನ್ನ ಪ್ರಾಧ್ಯಾಪಕರಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳು ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು. ಆ ಒಂದು ಹಿನ್ನೆಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಪ್ರಾಧ್ಯಾಪಕ ಬಂಧುಗಳು, ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳು, ಜೊತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಶ್ರೀಸಾಮಾನ್ಯರು ಕೂಡ ಯೋಗವನ್ನ ನಮ್ಮ ಬದುಕಿನಲ್ಲಿ ರೂಢಿಸಿಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು. ಆ ಯೋಗದ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಧ್ಯಾನ, ಯೋಗ ಮತ್ತು ಧ್ಯಾನ ಒಂದು ನಾಣ್ಯದ ಎರಡು ಮುಖಗಳು ಅಂತಾರೆ. ಇವು ಎರಡೂ ಕೂಡ ನಮ್ಮ ಬದುಕಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಅಳವಡಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡಿವಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಒಬ್ಬ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ಆರೋಗ್ಯವಂತರಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಇರ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇದೆ. ಆ ಒಂದು ಹಿನ್ನೆಲೆಯಾಗಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಇಂಥ ಅನೇಕ ಬಗೆಗಳನ್ನ, ಅನೇಕ ವಿಚಾರಗಳನ್ನ ನಮ್ಮ ಬದುಕಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಅಳವಡಿಸಿಕೊಳ್ಳುವುದ್ರ ಮೂಲಕ ನಮ್ಮ ಬದುಕನ್ನ ಸಾರ್ಥಕತೆಯನ್ನು ಪಡೆದುಕೊಳ್ಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇದೆ. ಆ ಒಂದು ಹಿನ್ನೆಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಧನ್ಯಾತ್ಮಕ, ಆಹ್ಲಾದಕರ, ನಕಾರಾತ್ಮಕ, ಅಹಿತಕರ ಸಹ ಈ ನೋವಿನಿಂದ ಏನು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಬಳಲ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ಇವನ್ನು ಹೋಗಲಾಡಿಸುವ ನಿಟ್ಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಭಾವನೆಗಳನ್ನ ಕೇಂದ್ರೀಕರಿಸಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಇವೆಲ್ಲವೂ ಕೂಡ ಬಹಳ ಮುಖ್ಯ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಭಾವಿಸ್ತೀನಿ. ಆ ಒಂದು ಹಿನ್ನೆಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಾಧ್ಯಾಪಕ ಬಂಧುಗಳು, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಈ ವೆಬಿನಾರ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿ ಬಂಧುಗಳು ಏನು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಒಂದು ನಿಟ್ಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಆರೋಗ್ಯದ ಕಡೆ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಒತ್ತನ್ನು ಕೊಡೋದ್ರ ಮೂಲಕ ನಾವು ಭಾವನಾತ್ಮಕವಾಗಿ ಬದುಕಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಪ್ರಯತ್ನವನ್ನ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಆ ದಿಶೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಆರೋಗ್ಯ ಬಹಳ ಮುಖ್ಯ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಈ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಇಚ್ಛೆಯನ್ನು ಪಡ್ತೇನೆ. ಯಾವುದಕ್ಕೂ ಕೂಡ ಹೆದರದೆ, ಯಾವುದಕ್ಕೂ ಕೂಡ ಬೆದರದೆ, ಅಂಜದೆ, ಅಳಕದೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಧ್ಯಾನ ಮತ್ತು ಯೋಗದ ಕಡೆ ನಾವು ವಾಲ್ದೀವಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಇವೆಲ್ಲವೂ ಕೂಡ ಕೇಂದ್ರೀಕರಣ ಆಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇದೆ. ಆ ಒಂದು ಹಿನ್ನೆಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಮಾನಸಿಕ ಸ್ವಾಸ್ಥ್ಯ ಮತ್ತು ಭಾವನಾತ್ಮಕ ಸಬಲೀಕರಣದ ಹಿನ್ನೆಲೆಯಾಗಿ ಇವತ್ತ ಸಹೋದರಿ ಶಾರಣ್ಯ ಪ್ರಕಾಶ್ ಅವರು ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ವಿಷಯವನ್ನ ನಮಗ ತಿಳಿಸ್ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಒಂದು ಆಶಾಭಾವನೆ ಹಿನ್ನೆಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಅವರಿಗೆ ಶಾರಣ್ಯ ಪ್ರಕಾಶ್ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಅನುವನ್ನ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡೋಣ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಬಹಳ ಈ ಕೋವಿಡ್ ಪೀರಿಯಡ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಪ್ರಸ್ತುತ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಭಾವಿಸ್ತೇನೆ. ಹೀಗಾಗಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಕಾಲೇಜಿನ IQAC ಮುಖ್ಯಸ್ಥರಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಮಲ್ಲಿಕಾರ್ಜುನ್ ಸರ್ಗೆ ನಾನು ಕೃತಜ್ಞತೆಗಳನ್ನ ಸಲ್ಲಿಸುವುದ್ರ ಮೂಲಕ ಮತ್ತೆ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳನ್ನ ಹೇಳೋದ್ರ ಮೂಲಕ ಮತ್ತ ಈಗ ಸೋದರಿ ಶಾರಣ್ಯ ಪ್ರಕಾಶ್ ಅವರು ಈ ನಿಟ್ಟಿನೊಳಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ವಿಚಾರಗಳನ್ನು ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಆಶಿಸಿ ನನ್ನ ಮಾತುಗಳನ್ನ ಮುಗಿಸ್ತೀನಿ. ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನನ್ನ ಅನಂತ ವಂದನೆಗಳು.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I request Madam to start the session. Please, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir. And Jagannath sir, ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಒಂದು introduction ಗೆ thank you so much. And it was very beneficial in a lot of sense to listen to you. So thank you very much for addressing us.
Thank you, sisters.
I will start sharing my screen. ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ನನಗೆ ಹೇಳಿ ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಿದ್ಯಾ ನನ್ನ?
ನಿಮಗೆ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ ಮೇಡಮ್, ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ ನಮ್ಗೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೆ.
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸರ್. ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಿದ್ಯಾ?
ಹಾ, ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ.
All right, then we will begin. So let's just understand why we are here today. Why do we need to discuss a topic like mental well-being or emotional well-being or emotional upskilling? A lot of the times what happens, we get so caught up in our lives, we forget to pay attention to small things. ಇವಾಗ ನಿಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಯೋಗ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀರಾ? ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಕೈ ಎತ್ತಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಚಾಟ್ ಬಾಕ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಓಕೆ, I see one hand up. Okay, all right. So, oh, I see many hands up. Okay, that's very nice. All right. So, ಇವಾಗ ನನ್ನ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಏನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯೋಗ ಮಾಡೋದು ಬರೀ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಮಾತ್ರನಾ ಅಥವಾ for overall well-being is why we do yoga. We do yoga so that our overall health is benefited, our overall well-being is benefited, and we are able to reap the benefits of the nature of yoga. ಹಂಗೇನೆ mental well-being ಕೂಡ ನೀವು ಹೇಗೆ ಯೋಗಾನ ಬರೀ only you don't do yoga only if there's a problem with you. You do yoga to maintain your physical well-being. Similarly, there are a lot of things we need to do to have a mental well-being. It's not only something you do when you have a problem, but it's everyday yoga for your mind as well. Ika, we all know that yoga, meditation, there are many positive effects on our mental health. And mundenu nodthivi nan slides alli. Hage, there are many things that we can do which will help us improve our mental well-being and emotional well-being. Fitness, mental fitness is antara. So adanna discuss madadikosra ee workshop ide. Ekandre it is high time that we all recognize the importance of mental well-being along with physical well-being, and especially at a time like this. So basically, let us start. My name is Sharanya, and throughout our presentation, I request all of you to kindly come alive in the chat box. Idu bari na matadi neevu keliskolonta ondu session khandita alla. I would love to interact with you. If you are not comfortable to unmute yourself and speak, that's not a problem at all. Chat box alli dayavitu give me your responses, and we will have an interactive session. And please don't worry about any right or wrong answers. There is no such thing as a right or wrong answer. It's just your perspective. So I request everybody to come alive in the chat box. So let's begin. On the Sunna icebreaker, because we as adults need a little bit of warming up to be able to fully function with each other. So on chick icebreaker marana, in the chat box here, type what type of music do you listen to get into a better mood? If you're feeling very stressed, if you're feeling very sad, or it's just a down day, or you're bored, what is the type of music that you listen to which helps you feel better? What is the type of music that you turn to? Please, I invite all of you to come to the chat box and give in your responses. So I see melody. Lokesh has said melody. Venkatesh has said old melodies. Padmini, melody and family songs. Okay, Akshay says instrumental. Ms. Ashwin says devotional songs, silent songs, old melodies. What exactly do silent songs mean? Can anybody give me an example? Vanajakshi or Helidira that you like silent songs. What exactly are silent songs? Can you please give me an example? Devotional songs, emotional songs, classical. Very nice. Shilpa, favorite songs. So you have like a playlist or something where you have all your favorite songs in it, and you kind of go through that playlist. Okay, slow music. Okay, not very fast-paced music. That's very nice. Slow music. And folk songs. Very nice. Devotional songs again. Avnisha said devotional songs. Pooja says flute music and devotional songs. Very nice. Annapurna says your favorite songs. That's very nice. Okay. All right. So thank you so much for that. Thank you for coming alive in the chat box. And I hope that we can maintain this sort of a channel for communication throughout the workshop. Thank you so much, guys. Let's move forward. Okay, let's try and understand what mental well-being means. Our mental well-being is about the thoughts we go through, about the feelings that we go, and how we cope up with the movement of all of this in our everyday life. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬರೀ ಏನಾರು ಒಂದು ಸಿಚುವೇಶನ್ ಆದಾಗ ಮಾತ್ರ ಹೆಂಗ್ ಅದ್ರ ಜೊತೆ ಕೋಪ್ ಅಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋತೀವಿ, ಅಥವಾ ಏನಾರು ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಬಂದಾಗ ಮಾತ್ರ ಅದ್ರ ಜೊತೆ ಹೇಗೆ. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ರೆಲೆವೆಂಟ್ ಟು ಒನ್ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಸಿಚುವೇಶನ್. Mental well-being is something to do with the everyday life, just like yoga. ಯೋಗ ನೀವು ಒಂದಿನ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬಿಟ್ಬಿಡಲ್ಲ, ಅಥವಾ ಬರೀ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಒಂದು ಇವೆಂಟ್ ಬರ್ತಿದೆ, ಮದ್ವೆಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು, ಅಥವಾ ಒಂದು ರನ್ನಿಂಗ್ ರೇಸ್ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು, ಅವಾಗ ಮಾತ್ರ ಯೋಗ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ, ಹಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಲ್ವಲ್ಲ. ಎವ್ರಿ ಡೇ ಯು ಡೂ. ಸೊ ಈವನ್ ಮೆಂಟಲ್ ವೆಲ್ ಬೀಯಿಂಗ್ ಇಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದಟ್. ನೀವು ದಿನದ ಆಕ್ಟಿವಿಟೀಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ದಿನದ ಸ್ಟ್ರೆಸ್ಸಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ದಿನದ ಮೂವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಗೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಎದುರುಗಡೆ ಬರೋದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ನೀವು ಫೇಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ಅನ್ನೋದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Now, mental well-being is not the same thing as mental health, although it influences that. It is a major part of it. Long periods of low mental health or unhappy or stressful mental well-being can lead to mental health issues. ಇವಾಗ ನಾವು ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಸತಿ ಜನ ಈ ವರ್ಡ್ ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಕೇಳಿದೀವಿ, ಐ ಫೀಲ್ ಸೋ ಡಿಪ್ರೆಸ್ಡ್. ಇವಾಗ ನೀವು ಅದನ್ನ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಯಾರು ಮೆಂಟಲ್ ಹೆಲ್ತ್ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಷನಲ್ ಹತ್ರ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ವಾಟ್ ವಿ ವಿಲ್ ಡೂ ಇಸ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ವಿ ವಿಲ್ ಸಿ ಇಫ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಅ ಡಯಾಗ್ನೋಸಬಲ್ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್. ಇವಾಗ ನಮಗೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಶೆಕೆ ಆಗ್ತಿದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ವಿ ವಿಲ್ ನಾಟ್ ಸೇ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಫೀವರ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ, ಬಟ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಇನ್ಕಲ್ಕೇಟೆಡ್ ದಿಸ್ ವರ್ಡ್ ಡಿಪ್ರೆಸ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ಆರ್ ಲಿಂಗ್ವಿಸ್ಟಿಕ್ಸ್ ಟು ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ರೈಬ್ ಅಸ್ ಫೀಲಿಂಗ್ ಸ್ಯಾಡ್. ನಾ ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಇದನ್ನ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಒಂದು, ಟು ರೇಸ್ ಅವೇರ್ನೆಸ್ ಟು ನಾಟ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಸಚ್ ವರ್ಡ್ ಸೋ ಲೈಟ್ಲಿ, ಅಂಡ್ ಟು, low mental well-being ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ತುಂಬಾ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದ್ದಾಗ it could lead to issues like depression and anxiety, wherein it can be diagnosed by a mental health professional. So long periods of low mental well-being is what can lead to depression. Feeling sad at a particular moment for a particular situation will not necessarily lead to depression, but extended periods of low mental health, low mental well-being is what leads to diagnosable mental health conditions. So depression is something that doesn't happen in one day. ಈಗ ನಮಗೆ ಡಯಾಗ್ನೋಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ಕ್ರೈಟೀರಿಯಾ ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನ ನೋಡಿದಾಗ್ಲೂ ಅಷ್ಟೇ, we look at either 6 weeks to 6 months. ಅಷ್ಟು ಟೈಮ್ ತನಕ if you have been feeling in a particular way, then we diagnose it. So ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ನಾ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳಕ್ ಬಂದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, low mental well-being for such an extended period of time could translate to mental health conditions. So adike what we are looking at the workshop today is prevention is better than cure. So we're looking at how we can maintain our mental well-being on a day-to-day basis, just like how you maintain your physical well-being on a day-to-day basis. Of course, it is always the case and condition that whenever we need help, help is always available. So even as I'm starting off this workshop, I want to tell everybody, yes, ನಾವು ಹೇಗೆ ಯೋಗ ಮಾಡಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಹೆಲ್ತ್ ನಾವು ನೋಡ್ಕೋತೀವೋ ಹಾಗೆ ಈ ಎಕ್ಸರ್ಸೈಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡೋದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಿ ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಮೇಂಟೈನ್ ಅ ಮೆಂಟಲ್ ವೆಲ್ಬೀಯಿಂಗ್. ತೀರಾ ಅದು ಆಗದೆ ಹೋದ್ರೆ, ಈಗ ಹೇಗೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಫೀವರ್ ಬಂದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ಹೇಗೆ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಹತ್ರ ಹೋಗ್ತಿರೋ, ಹಾಗೇನೆ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಮಾಡೋನು ಇಫ್ ಯು ಸ್ಟಿಲ್ ಫೇಸಿಂಗ್ ಸಮ್ ಕನ್ಸರ್ನ್ಸ್, ಇಫ್ ಯು ಸ್ಟಿಲ್ ಫೇಸಿಂಗ್ ಎನಿ ಇಶ್ಯೂಸ್, ಆರ್ ಯು ಜಸ್ಟ್ ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ಟಾಕ್ ಟು ಸಂಬಡಿ, please don't allow stigma to stop you. Reach out to somebody. I think it is high time that we have all realized that this is also a field which is very much normal, and it is something which is relevant to everybody. So regardless of this workshop, if you want to talk to somebody, please reach out to us. We have a very good team of counselors who will be very much ready to listen to you. So that in mind, let's go ahead. What does good mental well-being look like? Before we try to have points on how to maintain a good mental well-being, we need to understand how it looks like. Mental well-being andre hegirutte, yav ಒಂದು ಆಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಥವಾ ಯಾವ ಒಂದು ಸಿಚುವೇಶನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಕಾಣ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ನೋಡೋಣ ಫಸ್ಟ್. Good mental well-being is not just absence of negative thought. Andre, as a human being, we are bound to have negative thought. Idu namage, it comes from our evolution. Now, when we were cave dwellers, ನಾವು ಗುಹೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿದ್ದಾಗ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮಾನವ ಇನ್ನು ಇಷ್ಟರ ಮಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಮುಂದುವರೆದಿರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಆಗಿನ ಕಾಲದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಾವು ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಿರೋದು. ಅವಾಗ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾಡ್ ಅ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ವೈಲ್ಡ್ ಆನಿಮಲ್ಸ್ ರನ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಅರೌಂಡ್. ವಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಟು ಲಿವ್ ಇನ್ ಫಾರೆಸ್ಟ್. ಇಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಅ ವೆರಿ ಅನ್ಸೇಫ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್. So there's a portion right behind our forehead called the prefrontal cortex. Only there is a development which recognizes and gives us the fight, fright, or flight signal. Fight, fright, flight. ಓಡೋಗೋದು, ಫೈಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು, ಅಥವಾ ಹೆದರ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು. ಫೈಟ್, ಫ್ಲೈಟ್, ಆರ್ ಫ್ಲೈಟ್ ಸೀರೀಸ್. So ಆಗಿನ ಕಾಲಕ್ಕೆ we needed it because we never knew what wild animal may jump on us from anywhere, from any time. We had to be very quick on our senses. ಇವತ್ತಿನ ದಿನ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಇಲ್ಲ. Maybe truly prefrontal cortex is completely used probably in an example like when you're driving. Very quick reactions, being able to have peripheral vision, being able to swerve and avoid when somebody comes out of nowhere. All of these are happening here. Or even when you are having arguments or you are in a situation of threat, all of that. Adre, the cases of such situations is not so high. Dina nimge itra situation baralwala, yavaglaru ondond sati barutte. So ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಮಿಕ್ಕಿದ ಟೈಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ this can't switch off. ಸೊ ಮಾಮೂಲಿ ಸಿಚುವೇಶನ್ಸ್ ನ, ಮಾಮೂಲಿ ಕಾನ್ವರ್ಸೇಷನ್ಸ್ ನ ಕೂಡ ಇದು ಇಂಟರ್ಪ್ರೆಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ನಮಗೆ ಅಷ್ಟರ ಮಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಥಿಂಕಿಂಗ್ ಪ್ಯಾಟರ್ನ್ಸ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಸಿಚುವೇಶನ್ ಬಂದಾಗ ಅದ್ರ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಥವಾ ವರ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಕೇಸ್ ಸಿನಾರಿಯೋ ನಾವು ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಆ ಪ್ರಿಫ್ರಂಟಲ್ ಕಾರ್ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ ಅಟ್ ವರ್ಕ್. ಮುಂಚೆ ಯಾವ ಪ್ರಾಣಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಮೇಲೆ ಎಗರುತ್ತೋ ಅಂತ ನೋಡೋದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ವಿ ವರ್ ಸೋ ವಿಜಿಲೆಂಟ್. ಬಟ್ ಟುಡೇ ವಿ ಆರ್ ವಿಜಿಲೆಂಟ್ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ no other work. So if you have a lot of negative thoughts, don't assume that you're alone. All human beings have negative thoughts. So mental well-being or good mental well-being is not just the absence of negative thoughts or even negative feelings, anger, sadness. We all face it. It's about how you face it. That is good mental well-being. We all face difficult and challenging situations that cause us to feel angry, sad, overwhelmed, and everything in between. Instead, it's about being able to understand and manage these feelings. Other situations bandaga, day-to-day life ali, when these daily situations are coming to us, how are we able to manage it so that despite all of the situations, we are still able to feel confident in ourselves. We are still able to build and maintain positive relationships. We have a sense of purpose. Andre life ali eno direction ide namaginno. We are not so lost yet. We need to have a sense of direction, a sense of purpose. We are able to live and work productively. We are able to be productive. We are able to cope with the normal stresses of day-to-day life. And we are able to manage when things change. So what is mental well-being? Basically, how we are managing situations which come so that we are able to perform all of these activities which I just listed. That's good mental well-being. On situation bandaga, how are we able to deal with it so that we are still confident, we are still positive, we still have a sense of purpose, we have a balance, we are able to cope with change. That's good mental well-being. Now, what can affect our mental well-being? Again, when we need to look at a solution, we need to look at all dimensions and directions of the problem. One is understanding what the problem is, and the second one is what is affecting it. So what all affects our mental well-being? Many things, honestly speaking. Bari illi tanka I can understand if it feels like only emotions affect our mental well-being. That's not true. Going ahead, we'll actually see that how mental fitness is different from mental well-being and how mental fitness contributes to mental well-being. How emotional well-being is very different and how emotional well-being contributes to mental well-being. ಹೀಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟೋ ತರ. ಸೊ ಏನನ್ನ affect ಆಗುತ್ತೆ? Our mental well-being is often affected by big life events that we have little or no control over. Let's say somebody passes away, grief, bereavement, illness. For example, what's going on right now, coronavirus, an unexpected event, a pandemic, redundancy, being stuck in life. Now, in these situations, it's about how we respond that will determine the impact on our mental well-being. There are typically some of us who will have a slightly more optimistic view and slightly some of us who will have a slightly not so optimistic view. It's about how we react to these situations that will determine and affect our mental well-being. For example, do we tend to reach out for support or do we withdraw? Again, one situation, and the situation, what do we do? Do we typically go seek support from our loved ones, from relations we trust, from friends we depend on, or do we withdraw? Now, there's nothing wrong in either of it. It's okay to withdraw. Some people prefer to process their emotions, process situations, their stresses alone. And maybe that works out better. We just need to ensure that you don't become so alone that you'll end up becoming lonely. That even when you need help from someone, you're not turning to somebody. It's okay to deal with something on your own. But you need to ensure that you don't forget that there are people who can help. So sometimes it's okay to seek help. Sometimes it's okay to not seek help. It's about judging where you are. It's about seeing how you respond. Do we assume the worst of a situation or do we remain open to new opportunities? We have the prefrontal cortex, which sometimes will assume the worst of a situation. So at that point of time, how quick and conscious are we to realize that the worst case scenario may not happen? And there could be many possibilities and many new opportunities. So yav tara approach ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, and it's not just for major events, but for even small everyday events. Is that our level, it's here that our level of resilience comes into play. Resilience, Bandhu, the reason I'm bringing up resilience here is because we spoke about positive outlooks until now. And I want to bring in the difference between resilience and a positive outlook versus toxic positivity. Let us say a situation comes into our life and we are dealing with it. Just blindly saying everything will be fine, don't cry, everything will be perfect, we're perfectly strong enough to get over this. That's actually toxic positivity. It's okay to allow ourselves time to go through negative feelings. When something happens, we need not immediately cope up with it. We can give ourselves time to go through some stress. We can give ourselves some time to go through sadness. We can give ourselves time to go through sorrow, anger, anything. While going through all of these emotions, resilience is knowing that it's okay. I need time. I'm giving myself time to go through these negative emotions also. And after I go through all of this, I will come out and find another solution or another way around this. That's resilience. It's not just being headstrong, thinking everything will be perfect. It's completely fine. Resilience is your ability to cope with change and adversity. It's not ignoring negative feelings. It's accepting negative feelings, acknowledging negative feelings, allowing yourself time to go through it, and then coming out the other side and looking for a brighter future, looking at a positive side and looking for solutions. By strengthening your resilience, you're better able to maintain good well-being through all of life's ups and downs. Many times, if we would have observed, we may come across the statement saying, ma'am, no matter what happens, I try to remain positive. But how much can one person remain positive, ma'am? It gets very tiring. That happens because you're trying to be positive all the time without giving yourself time to go through your negative feelings. It's very difficult. So it's about allowing yourself space to feel all emotions. This is one of the things that can affect mental well-being. Let's look at some more. Let's play a small game here. I invite everybody to the chat box again. The shortest short story. Chances are you have written a short story in your life. Using just 7 words, craft a complete story. This game challenges your creativity and requires you to search your brain for the most impactful vocabulary. For example, Consider Ernest Hemingway's iconic 6-word story, For Sale, Baby Shoes, Never Worn. So those of you who are on social media might heard of this page called Terribly Tiny Tales, wherein they give a story in just 4 sentences. We are challenging you here to give us a story in just 7 to 9 words. Now, I will just type in 1 or 2 examples in the chat box. Take 2 minutes time, think, but give me a story in just 7 to 9 words. I'll just type an example in the chat box. And they lived happily ever after. That's one example. I have given one with 10 words, so you can go ahead 7 to 9 or 10, but let's try keeping it as close as possible to 7. Give me a story in 7 words. I invite all of you to the chat box. Faculty, staff, students, all of you give it a try. Just your padadalli. Can you make a complete story? I invite everybody to the chat box. Guys, quickly, run your brains. Sadhana has given one. In the dark, she realizes she was the light. Wonderful, very nice. Akshay, I was born but never lived. Oh, that's a little saddening, no? But that makes a lot of sense. A lot of people are born but they never live. Very true. Very nice. Thank you, Akshay. Ashwin has says a woman has to care about a family completely on herself. Okay. 11 words. Can we try shortening it a little? Janaki, when she is. Can you expand that a little more, Janaki? Because I'm not able to quite understand that one. Can you explain that a little bit? Sadhana has given another one. Motherhood is a profession above all professions in the world. Okay. Shilpa, I want to be a part of this society, not a part of family. Okay. A woman being head takes full responsibility of house. Okay. Guys, make a story. You guys are giving me commentary. Make a story. For example, if I were to say, and they lived happily ever after, it could be anything, right? It's a story. Do not give commentary. Do not give statements. Lokesh, she waits as promised, he didn't. Wonderful, Lokesh. That's a good one. Mallikarjun, 7 was not enough to express my pain. Okay. As in 7 lives? I'm not sure. Sadhana, she came, she saw, and she conquered. Okay. That could be a story, yes. Ashwin, a mother is guardian of a family in any situation. Again, that becomes a statement. Try going towards a story. When she saw her kids smile, she forgot everything. Very nice, Janaki. That was nice. Anybody else? First birthday, I laughed and cried. Very nice, Avinash. Very nice. Ashwin, again, try, but do not cry, okay? Okay, anybody else? We'll take another 2 more and then we'll proceed. Come on, guys, try. Suranjana has said, I just wanted to discover myself. Very nice. Okay, a self-reflectory story. Okay. Akshay, finding you was like coming home. Beautiful. Very nice. A lot of romantics, I think, over here. Sadhana, younger learned words, youth understood the depth of the words. Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. So, all right. Let's move ahead. In case you get some more, do type it in the chat box and we'll see it towards the end. So why did I do this small exercise is because, like I was telling you, mental well-being is not just about emotions. Mental well-being has a lot of mental fitness also attributed to it. For example, let us say everything is perfectly fine in family relations and things like that, but you're feeling stuck. You could be feeling stuck at work, you could be feeling stuck in academics, you could be feeling stuck or bored doing the same thing again and again. It's because we are not actively working on our mental fitness. What is mental fitness? It is the need for oxygen in our brain. And how do we get that? A lot of ways. One is, of course, through foods, which we will discuss further in the presentation. But mainly through using our brain to learn new things. For example, this activity forced us to indulge in creativity. When you solve crossword puzzles, sudokus, or even word puzzles or puzzles in general, when you learn tongue twisters, when you learn a new skill, when you learn a new subject, when you learn instruments and art, all of these form new pathways in our brain, which aids our mental fitness. So mental well-being is not just about emotions, but mental well-being is also about mental fitness, especially in a time like COVID, where we are all inside the house and we don't have a lot of outside stimulus. It's very important that at home, at our desk, we are doing things to maintain our mental fitness. So I urge you to always, every day, a little bit, either solve one puzzle, either solve one crossword, one sudoku, engage in some brain teaser, take a brain break, but engage in something new. Learn a new skill. If you have learned instruments, practice them, learn a new instrument if not. These are things which you can do to keep your mental fitness high. Now, let us look at some more factors. There is something called as emotional upskilling. Now, what do we mean by emotional upskilling? Upskilling is anything wherein you learn a new skill to make yourself better, to progress further. Similarly, with emotions also, learning new ways to deal with emotions, learning new emotions itself is emotional upskilling. So why is it relevant to us? Emotional upskilling is very important for us when we need to expand our bandwidth to express, to feel new emotions and more emotions, old emotions at a far greater depth. Emotional well-being refers to the emotional quality and individual experiences. On the positive side, enhanced emotional well-being is seen to contribute to upward spirals in increasing coping ability, self-esteem, performance, and productivity at work, and even longevity. The connection between the mind and the body is so strong that mental and physical states feed into each other in both a positive and a negative way. Feelings depend on thoughts and both determine attitudes and actions. Ivaga, I'm sure all of you would have faced this. When you're feeling very hungry, you tend to get irritated and sometimes even angry. And they have even termed a name for that. It's called hangry. Hungry plus angry, hangry. Why? Why do we feel anger or irritation when we feel hungry? Because there is a very direct correlation between our gut to our brain. Actually, we will see that in one of the slides coming very soon now. Our mind and our body are very closely related. Now, how is this relevant to emotions? Think back. When you feel very stressed, your body starts reacting. For example, when I get very stressed, my body, my palms especially, become very rough and it starts chipping. My father, when he gets extremely stressed, he gets an itchy patch here. Psoriasis is a result of mental stress. We many times before going either to an examination or something like that, sometimes you would have had loose motions. Why? So all of these are examples of mind-body connect. So the more you understand your emotions, the more you can upskill your emotions, the better you can combat your physical body as well. Now, for those of you who find it a little difficult to directly go into emotions for emotional upskilling, this mind-body connect is a help for you, because by looking at your physical manifestations, you get a route to your emotional self. So it's like a two-way street. Now, let us look what are the things rather, which, affect emotional well-being. And I see some of the participants have raised their hand. In case they have any questions or any doubts, or if they want me to go slow or fast, just type into the chat box and I will be seeing it. Akshay, you said mood lies in the guts. Yes, a lot of the times our mood also affects the way we eat. For example, some people when they're stressed, they tend to overeat, or some people don't get hungry at all. So yes, it does lie in the gut, and we'll just explore that in one of the next slides. So those of you who raised your hands, in case you have any questions, do drop it in the chat box and I'll address that. Now let us look at some of the factors that surround emotional well-being. And these factors not just influence emotional well-being, this is again a two-way street. Emotional well-being influences these factors as well. And in turn, these contribute to mental well-being. So until now, we have discussed how our day-to-day events affect our mental well-being, how our mental fitness affects our mental well-being, and now we are looking at emotional well-being and its contribution to mental well-being. With emotional well-being, we have lower levels of stress and anxiety, autonomy and competence, which means we are able to be independent and manage our decisions independently, positive relationships, optimism, self-esteem, clear values, self-realization, that's awareness over yourself, understanding yourself. If anybody is aware of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, Maslow hierarchy of needs is a very well-known triangle or a pyramid, especially corporate places. Alanto, this is one of the things that gets posted in their bulletin board many times. Enikendra Abraham Maslow was a very well-known psychologist, and he came up with the hierarchy of needs, and only self-realization, self-actualization, and self-awareness was the highest ranked as the most difficult, but the last step towards the perfect balance of a human being. Ivaga nammali, if we see if you are into religious text and things like that, nammali esto heltara adanna religious texts alli sadhana, ಒಬ್ಬರನ್ನೊಬ್ರು ಕಂಡುಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು, attaining inner peace. All of this has a direct correlation to self-realization and self-actualization. Happiness and joy, playing to one's strengths, and finding meaning and purpose in life. Now, emotional well-being and mental well-being, this is a very key factor, that is finding a purpose in life, a meaning and purpose in life. And especially at a time like this, COVID time, I think we have realized that there is so much more than just us. ಇದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆ ಆಫೀಸ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಿದ್ವಿ, ಬರ್ತಿದ್ವಿ, ಕಾಲೇಜ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಿದ್ವಿ, ಬರ್ತಿದ್ವಿ, ವಿ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ನಮ್ದೊಂದು ಮಾತ್ರ ಒಂದು ಗೂಡಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತ್ರ ನಾವ್ ಇರ್ತಿದ್ವಿ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಇವಾಗ ನಮ್ಮ ಮನೆಗೆನೆ, ನಮ್ ಗೂಡಿಗೆನೆ ನಾವು ಕನ್ಫೈನ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ವಿ ಆರ್ ಸೀಯಿಂಗ್ ಹೌ ಮಚ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ಔಟ್ಸೈಡ್ ಇಸ್ ದೇರ್. ಎಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಹೊರಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಯಾವ ತರ ಸ್ಯಾಕ್ರಿಫೈಸಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಯಾವ ತರ ಸಫರಿಂಗ್ ನಡೀತಿದೆ ಹೊರಗೆ. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ಅ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ವೀಸ್ ಓಪನಿಂಗ್ ಅವರ್ ಐಸ್. ನಮ್ ಮೆಂಟಲ್ ವೆಲ್ಬೀಯಿಂಗ್, ನಮ್ ಇಮೋಷನಲ್ ವೆಲ್ಬೀಯಿಂಗ್ಗೆ one of the key factors is to be able to think about others as well. ಬರೀ ನಮಗೋಸ್ಕರ ಜೀವನ ಮಾಡೋದಲ್ಲ, ಬೇರೆಯವ್ರಿಗೋಸ್ಕರ ಜೀವನ ಮಾಡೋದು ಕೂಡ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿ ಮೆಂಬರ್ಸ್ ಮಾತ್ರ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಹೊರಗಡೆ ನಡೀತಿರೋ ಒಬ್ಬ ಸ್ಟ್ರೇಂಜರ್ ಕೂಡ. Charity, for example, is one of the greatest ways and easiest ways to find a purpose and meaning to life. ಬರೀ ನಮ್ ಸ್ವಂತ ಜೀವನದಲ್ಲ, ಬೇರೆಯವ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆನೂ ಯೋಚಿಸಿ ಅವ್ರ ಜೀವನಕ್ಕೆ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು. ಅಂಡ್ ಚಾರಿಟಿ ಡಸಂಟ್ ಆಲ್ವೇಸ್ ಮೀನ್ ಮನಿ. ನೀವೆಲ್ಲಾರು ಹೋಗಿ ಏನಾರು ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಮಾಡೋದು, ಏನಾರು ಸೇವೆ ಮಾಡೋದು, ಇಟ್ ಕುಡ್ ಬಿ ಎನಿಥಿಂಗ್. ಬಟ್ connecting with a purpose, with a meaning far greater than yourself, has shown to have positive effects for emotional well-being and mental well-being. Okay, now ivaga illi tanka we have discussed what are the factors, what are the different ways that we can maintain mental well-being. Let's look at some of the tips now to further aid this process. The 6 keys to mental health. Social connection. Ivatin dina ade that has become a luxury. Today, yes, because of COVID, we are not able to go outside. We are not able to have physical social connection. But that does not mean we cannot have social connection. I think a while back, last year lockdown only, I read this. It said social distancing, that word itself sometimes is tricking us. We need physical distancing, not social distancing. ನಿಮ್ಮಿಂದ ನಾನು ಮಾನಸಿಕವಾಗಿ, ಸೊಸೈಟಿ ಆಗಿ, as a friend, as a human being, I need not distance. I have to physically distance myself from you. 1. 2, as we become adults, now ಚಿಕ್ಕ ವಯಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಗಿದ್ವಿ ನೋಡಿ, ಎಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊತಿದ್ವಿ ಅಲ್ಲ. ಎವ್ರಿ ಇಯರ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸಸ್ ಶಿಫ್ಟ್ ಆಗೋದು, ಶಫಲ್ ಆಗೋದು ಸೆಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್, ಅಂಡ್ ಅದರಿಂದಾಗಿ ಯುನೋ ಹೊಸ ಹೊಸ ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ಸ್ ಬರೋರು ನಮಗೆ. ಆದ್ರೆ ದೊಡ್ಡವ್ರು ಆಗ್ತಾ ಆಗ್ತಾ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಗೆಟಿಂಗ್ ಸ್ಟಕ್. The same friends, ಅವರನ್ನೇ ಪದೇ ಪದೇ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತೀವಿ. We don't go out and make new friends. That is a habit we need to slightly modify. Make new social connections. There are so many people out there with so many interesting lives. And it's not that when I say make social connections, hogi nim entire history ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಹೇಳಿ ಬನ್ನಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. But you can always talk, just basics, catching over conversations. I think Hyderabad alone library there where they do not keep books. The libraries of people wherein you go and you have a conversation with a person, you read a person. So try forming new social connections in whatever little way is possible, because it helps us not only improve our own brain health, it helps us expand our view of the world. Staying active, this is physical. Yes, I know you can't go outside walking. I know you can't go jogging in the park. Adre, we can go to our terrace in the evenings, do few basic stretches. I'm not even saying do full-fledged yoga, gym, nothing. Just basic stretches, hand stretches, leg stretches, back stretches. Taking in some evening air in your own terrace, far from everybody else. You can stay active even while being in a pandemic, in a lockdown. Managing stress, in one of the slides ahead, we will see how to do that. Brain healthy diet. There are a lot of things which help us keep our brain healthy and active. Let's look at some of that. Quality sleep. Minimum 6 to 7 hours of sleep in a day at night is required, because our brain heals when it sleeps. ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಸತಿ ಇವಾಗ ನಮ್ಮ ಬಾಡಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಇಫ್ ಯು ಮೆನಿ ಆಫ್ ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಫೇಸ್ ದಿಸ್ ಇಫ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ನಾಟ್ ಸ್ಲೆಪ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಲಿ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಡೇ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಡೈಜೆಷನ್ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಬೌಲ್ ಮೂವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಷ್ಟು ಕ್ಲೀನ್ ಆಗಿರಲ್ಲ. ಏನಕ್ಕೆ? sleep aids our entire body to get rid of toxins and garbage, especially in the brain. Throughout the day, you would have had a lot of brain activity, a lot of neurotransmitters, chemicals, fluids, ella release agirutte brain alli. When you sleep is when all of the unnecessary liquid and toxins get thrown out of there. So ensure that you have undisturbed sleep for at least 6 to 7 hours. Meaning and purpose in life we discussed. Small, did you know? The gut-brain connection. Good intestinal bacteria produce over 30 mood-enhancing brain chemicals. Adikosra, there is that direct connection between your stomach and your brain. Intestinally, there are a lot of bacteria which enhance our mood-enhancing chemicals. Andre, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಬ್ರೈನಿಗೆ ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಅ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಟರ್ನಲ್ ಆರ್ಗನ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಗ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಸ್ ವಿಚ್ ಆರ್ ವೆರಿ ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ಲಿ ಲಿಂಕ್ಡ್ ಟು ಅವರ್ ಬ್ರೈನ್ ವಿಚ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಇನ್ ಅವರ್ ಬ್ರೈನ್. ಸೊ ಮೇಂಟೈನಿಂಗ್ ಗುಡ್ ಗಟ್ ಹೆಲ್ತ್ will result to better mood. Many people we have seen, if they are suffering from chronic constipation, ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಸತಿ ಅವರು counselors hatra hodaga, they may be holding on to something in their mind and not letting go, and that's why their body is also not able to let go. So there is a direct connection between your brain and your gut. Okay, so some brain happy food: avocados, blue potatoes, of course India nalli sigala, so that's okay, blueberries, broccoli, coconut. And coconut truly such a versatile thing. ಅದನ್ನ ಹಂಗೆ ತಿಂದ್ರು ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಇಲ್ಲ ಕೋಕೋನಟ್ ಆಯಿಲ್ ನಮ್ ಕುಕಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಇಲ್ಲ ನಾವು ಗಂಜಿ ಆತರ ತಿಂದ್ರು. ಎನಿ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಫ್ ಕೋಕೋನಟ್ ಇಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಬೆನಿಫಿಷಿಯಲ್ ಫಾರ್ ಅಸ್. ಡಾರ್ಕ್ ಚಾಕ್ಲೇಟ್, and please, dark chocolate does not mean Bonville. When I say dark chocolate, I mean genuine dark chocolate. Amul avrdu, I think there is a dark chocolate. Hege choose ಮಾಡೋದು ಇದನ್ನ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಹಿಂದ್ಗಡೆ ingredients list ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ sugar irkudu. That is true dark chocolate. Illa very little quantity of sugar. Very little quantity of sugar. Most of the contents of it has to be only cocoa. That is dark chocolate, not your dairy milk or your Bonville. Eggs, flax seeds. Flax seeds is a very great source of omega-3 fatty acids. So it's not only good for your brain, it's also good for your health, in terms of your skin, in terms of your hair, in terms of your nails. It's very good. Greek yogurt ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಹುಳಿ ಬಂದಿಲ್ದೇ ಇರೋ ಮೊಸರು, ಹೆಪ್ಪ ಹಾಕಿರೋ ಮೊಸರು, ಹುಳಿ ಬಂದಿಲ್ದೇ ಇರೋದು. Green tea, honey. For those of you who eat seafood, mussels, it's a shellfish variety which you can which you eat. Now I'm a vegetarian, so I don't know if you get it here. Salmon again is also another seafood. It's a fish. Spinach, yaude tara soppu, especially green vegetables, any sort of green vegetables and leafy vegetables is very good. Nammalli esto tara soppugalide. I think we're blessed that way. All of it is very beneficial to us. Oatmeal, andre oats sigutala, oats is very good. Orange juice or any citrus fruit, it could be lemon, moosambis, illa kiwi, all of it is good for us. Walnuts, almonds also, peanuts also, pistas, and last but not at all the least, water. So these are all our mood busters. Adikosa, when somebody's crying a lot, we give them water, because not only have you dehydrated when you're crying, but it's also helpful to boost your mood, because it is moving about cleaning any toxins that might be there, which could be altering your mood. Now, I request all of you, this is a quick 2-minute relaxation technique. I request all of you to sit in a very comfortable position. Close your eyes and just follow my voice. This is a technique which can be done anywhere, anytime. Close your eyes, sit in a comfortable position and relax. When I say take a deep breath in, take a deep breath in for 4 seconds. And when I say exhale, exhale for 8 seconds. So basically, exhale twice as long as you inhale. Take a deep breath in for 4 seconds. Hold it. And exhale for 8 seconds. Let's do that again. Take a deep breath in again. And exhale. Now, as you take a deep breath in, imagine yourself standing in a vast garden surrounded by tall, beautiful trees and a beautiful stone path below your feet. Pay attention to how the stone feels below your feet. Take a deep breath and notice all the smells around you. As you take a deep breath in again, walk on that stone path ahead to a beautiful gate. Open the gate and step inside to a beautiful garden. Notice the beautiful plants, the trees, the fruits and flowers, beautiful birds and butterflies in the garden. Notice a swing in the middle of the garden. Proceed towards it. Gently rock back and forth on the swing while you look around in the garden. And you breathe in. Take a deep breath in. Notice all the fragrances around you. Now slowly get up from the swing and walk back towards the gate. On your way to the gate, pick up a small object which will help you remember the time you spent in the garden. Walk back out of the gate and close the gate behind you. Walk back down the stone path, noticing the beautiful trees again. Stand where you first started. Take a deep breath in. Slowly come back to your surroundings. Open your eyes. Take a deep breath in. And be present in the moment. find an object around you which will remind you of the object that you picked up in the garden. If you can't find an object, draw one. Now, this is just a basic breathing technique and a visualization technique, which you can do at any time whenever you're feeling stressed. Let's look at just a few more stress management tips and tricks. We always have two types of stress inside us. That's the distress and the eustress. Eustress is the good stress. For example, on running race, starting line when you're standing at the starting line, you will have butterflies in your stomach. The anxiety, all of these things help you perform better. It pushes you further. It motivates you. That is good stress. That's eustress. When it crosses a particular threshold and it starts having negative effects is when it becomes distress, DIS stress. Now let us see how to de-stress and increase eustress. Time management is a very, very crucial part of stress management because more often than not, we get crunched for time and hence become more stressed because of it. So always learn to have a time schedule, have a time management technique. Meditation, breathing exercises. If you don't want to do full-fledged meditation, basic breathing exercises. Spending time with nature. Even if you can't go outside, having few plants around you at home, in your small balconies, on your study table, anywhere. If that is also not possible, just put on your headphones and listen to the sound of leaves rustle. Listen to music. Thinking positive. Again, when I say thinking positive, it's not toxic positivity, it's with resilience. Exercising, talking with friends, and reading a book if it's your hobby, or engaging in any of your hobby for that matter, not just reading a book. Now, that brings me to the end of my presentation. So I'll just quickly summarize. Mental well-being has a lot of factors. Emotional well-being is one of it. Mental fitness is another one of it. Upskilling yourself to keep yourself updated and moving forward, and having a good stress management technique. All of these things help in us keeping our mental well-being on track. Thank you, everybody. If you have any questions, you can unmute yourself and ask it. Otherwise, you can just type it in the chat box. Now, kindly fill up the attendance forms that have been sent in the chat box because it is important. I'll also wait so that you can type any questions you may have or any doubts you may want to ask and be happy to answer. Thank you, everyone. I see some of you have raised your hands. Guys, you can just type in the questions into the chat box and I'll just quickly answer them. Or actually, if need be, you can also just unmute yourself and ask the questions if you're comfortable with that. If not, you can just type into the chat box.
ಹಲೋ, ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಗಳು ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ನೇರವಾಗಿ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಅವರ ಜೊತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಚರ್ಚೆ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. All are busy in filling the documents.
ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಡೌಟ್ ಇಲ್ವಾ? ಅಷ್ಟು ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಆಗಿತ್ತ ಸೆಷನ್? Nobody has any questions?
No, everyone has a question, but they are not ready to ask.
Let's give it a little time. So I think one question has already come here. Yes. So I would love to answer that. I think it is from Ashok Kumar. Let me just read it out. Okay. What is toxic positivity and how does it affect, and how to know that our mind is in a state of toxic positivity? Okay, very relevant question. So basically, toxic positivity, I'll give you an example so we can understand it better. If you find yourself in a situation which, let us say, I failed in an exam at the corner. At that time, I'm feeling very bad. I'm feeling very low. Without allowing myself any time to kind of process the emotion, if I just start saying, everything will be fine, everything will be fine, it's okay, don't cry, should not cry, it's completely fine, everything is for the better. That's toxic positivity. When you are not acknowledging a situation, when you're not acknowledging the true state of your emotions, and you're only trying to blindly focus on positives, that becomes toxic positivity. So how to know if you're in a state of toxic positivity? We check first for ourselves. Have I given enough time to myself to go through the emotion? Have I given myself enough time to understand my emotion? That is the first way to find out if we are in a state of toxic positivity. How to overcome it? So if you're finding yourself constantly thinking like this, like the example I gave, recognize it. First step, recognize it. Once you recognize, okay, this is what I'm doing, then you go over to giving yourself time to process your emotions. It could be negative emotions, it could be unpleasant emotions, unpleasant thoughts. It's okay. Give yourself some time to go through your emotions. Then look at trying to find solutions or ways to come over the setback or the situation or the feeling. So first step is recognition. Second step is allowing time to go through what you're going through. And third step is looking for the next step forward. Being resilient, not giving up. So I hope I have answered your question, Ashok. Akshay has asked, once we assume or rely on a fictional, desired, pleasuring environment around us through meditation. Okay. What's the question here, Akshay? Mallikarjun has asked how to build self-confidence. Okay. Self-confidence is a very vast subject, and it is not something that gets built like that. It is an everyday process, and every single person, the most confident person, also will have some aspects in which he or she will feel like they can do better or improve on. Alba. So self-confidence, I would say the root is first to understand yourselves. What are your strengths and weaknesses? Do I have confidence in everything? No. Ee workshop conduct madbekittu. Do I have self-confidence to do this? Yes. But if tomorrow, let us say, my dance teacher asks me to perform on stage, do I have self-confidence for that? No. So it's about understanding my strength and weaknesses first. Once I understand my strength and weaknesses, it is about how I can use my strength to upskill on my weaknesses. This is point number one for self-confidence. Point number two for self-confidence is I need to understand why am I not feeling confident? Understanding myself better. Am I feeling insecure about something? If I am feeling insecure, why? What can I do to improve? Have I put in all my efforts to improve and upskill myself? If I have, then do I believe in myself? If I don't, circle back to question one. What is it that is stopping me? So it's a long process. It's a step-by-step process. I would say, first step, sit down with yourself, make a list of strengths and weaknesses, And what is it that you want self-confidence for? Which area? Where do you feel you lack confidence? And how can you use your strengths to build on all of it and upskill? I hope I've answered your question. Okay. Annapurna has asked, is stress and depression different? Most definitely. Depression is a mental health condition. It is a condition where there's, of course, I will not go into details of symptoms and things like that, but it has been shown that a lot of stress, if gone untreated and unchecked for a very long time, can lead to depression as well. Depression is, it is, as I said, a mental health condition, which is usually characterized by feelings of melancholy and redundancy and hopelessness for a long period of time, and unable to withhold to happiness providing factors. Depression and stress and anxiety are all things which can be worked upon. It's not a terminal thing, and there is no shame in working on these conditions. So it's always good to reach out to somebody if you're feeling very sad or very stressed for a long period of time, or even a short period of time for that matter. Suranjana, how to overcome fear? Fear usually stems because of a lot of reasons. There are two types of fear. A fear based out of a very real thing and unbased fears. Each of it are dealt with it differently. So it depends on what you're scared about. For example, if I'm very scared of spiders, it's not that I've ever been bitten by a spider or something happened to me and that's why I'm scared of them. It's just they look very scary to me. There could be a fear of, let's say, relationships, or a fear of trusting people. It could be because either I've been hurt in the past and hence I fear from doing and hurting again, or it could be a learned fear. I have always grown up seeing somebody else have a fear and therefore I have a fear. So what I'm trying to say is there are many types of it. So it is to understand what your fear is exactly. So if there is one particular thing you have in mind, you note it down and you try to find out where it could have stemmed from. Once you understand that, you face the worst case scenario. Let us say I have a fear of failure. Where is it stemming from? Let us say it stems, I don't want to fail because I'm scared that I will be made fun of. So it's stemming from fear of embarrassment. Fear of failure is because fear of embarrassment, and also maybe scared that I will not have a good life and something like that. Now, once you understand that, it's to then focus on what all can you do to combat that. Why is this fear holding me back? What is the worst case scenario? Okay, I fail. Okay, I get embarrassed. What will happen to me? What's the worst case? When you confront the worst case, you try to make yourself realize that, okay, the worst case scenario may not be so horrible. So it's okay. That way you're reducing the size of the fear. And then you start working towards upskilling yourself so that you can deal with fear. Now, if these are fears for which you're not able to find a basis, it's always good to talk to somebody, talk to a professional. Maybe they can help you to try and understand it better and find a way around it. I hope I've answered your question, Suranjana. Akshay, once we return back to reality and have to face the same situation, how long will the breathing technique can help, and we can't rely for longer? Okay. So Akshay, what happens, these breathing techniques and these visualization techniques is not a way to escape our reality. For example, let us say you are my friend and I come running to you with a problem, and as soon as I see you, I just start talking and unloading all of my problems on you without a break. What is the first thing you will tell me to do? You say, breathe, stop, calm down. Let's go at it one at a time. So what this breathing exercise and these visualization techniques does is, The brain will have, when it is stressed, right? It's like a beehive. A lot of thoughts are going around, a lot of issues are going around. This helps us calm down at that minute and helps us focus. So once you do the breathing technique, the reality is not going to change. The visualization technique will not make your reality change. It will give you that much needed break to reorganize your thoughts so that you can come back fresh and deal with the problems at hand. It's a lot like sleeping. Just because you sleep tonight doesn't mean the problems will vanish the next day, but sleeping helps in reorganizing thoughts and calming us down so that we have fresh ideas to deal with the problem the next day. When you're breathing, when you're deep breathing, you are giving your brain more oxygen. So you are helping your toxins, your chemicals, your neurotransmitters absorb more. Our mood and thoughts is a reaction, is a consequence of chemical reactions. So when there's a situation happening, the situation is neutral. The way we react to it is what makes it troublesome, happy, sad, whatever it is. So the situation will remain, but how you react to it is what will determine the consequences of it. So when a situation is going on and you are reacting in a not a very productive way, having these breathing techniques and these visualization techniques gives you the time and space for your brain to take a step back, to give you a little bit more clarity and help you look at the situation in probably a better light. It's like yoga. Why do they say do meditation, yoga, all of that? It's not going to just quickly remove something. It helps in maintenance. Similarly, these breathing techniques and visualization techniques give you that much needed oxygen, much needed gap, so you can realign your thoughts and look at a position in a different way. So no, it will not solve your problems. It will not make something disappear. Reality will never disappear. It will help us get a new perspective on that. One, chemically, because we are giving ourselves more oxygen, and two, it gives you that space, like how you would tell me to breathe and calm down when I'm just exploding. This technique, you are doing it to yourself. You are giving yourself the space to breathe and calm down before you explode. So I hope I've answered your question, Akshay. Ashwin has asked, how can we overcome any diseases with emotional well-being and fight it? Okay, Ashwin, I suggest a book to you. It's by Louise Hay. I will just type it in the chat box. Louise Hay. Or even heal yourself. Both works. Have a look at that book. There are free PDFs available online. It exactly answers your question. A lot of the illnesses have emotional connect, and a lot of studies are there to prove that, and how you can use your emotional wellness to combat a lot of diseases is detailed written in that. So I hope that book will help you. It's a very vast subject. Lokesh, what is the first step in managing stress and what are the symptoms of anxiety? Okay. So the first step of managing stress, I think, would be to understand and recognize it. A lot of the times we fail to recognize and admit that we are stressed. A lot of the times we ignore situations which cause us stress. We think that, okay, let me just finish this, let me get this over with and this will all go away. But we fail to recognize what we're going through. I think the first step towards managing stress is to take a pause. Like that breathing technique, like those visualization techniques, take a pause, take a break. Sit down. If need be, make a list, journaling. What are the concerns right now in front of you? Many times what happens when everything is just in our mind, it will seem larger than what it is. When we write something down, it immediately cuts down all the unnecessary things that may be there and brings our focus exactly to the problem. So first step, take a break, calm down, have a breath. Second step, make a list of what are the things that are currently causing you stress: financial problems, work-related problems, academic-related problems, whatever it may be. Write it down and write it down in exacts. Don't just write financial problem. That's very vast. Financial problem due to so and so, or needed this and is unable to, or be detailed and exact about the stress you're writing. Once you write down the stress, evaluate. How big is your mind making the stress out to be, and how big is it really? Next step, try to find written solutions. I have financial stressors at home. What are the ways I can deal with it right now? What are the first things I need to pay off? What are things which I can cut back on? Is there a loan I can take from somewhere? Is there a loan already on my head? Am I running behind on something? Immediate actionable solutions. Of course, financial stresses is just an example I have given. You write a list of immediate actionable solutions. Next step, you don't have to do all of this alone. You seek help. So these are in terms of physical stressors, I'm saying. Mental stressors, I think we discussed, some of the things. One, when you identify, and then you take the step-by-step process of yoga, of meditation, of journaling, of reading, of relaxing to deal with your everyday stresses. I hope I've answered your question, Lokesh. Kambar has asked how to identify correct human being. I don't quite understand your question. Can you detail it a little bit more? What do you mean by correct? Rohini, how to overcome anxiety when especially it affects our body, like breathlessness? Okay. Breathlessness is a symptom of anxiety. It is a consequence of anxiety. If you're having anxiety for a while now, I would suggest you speak to a professional about it, because these are not things which just go with a tip or two. If you've been having stress for a long time, if you've been having anxiety for a long time, please talk to a professional, because it's not possible to just quickly get it over with like that. But I will just speak of a few things. Anxieties occur when we have irrational fears. Anxieties typically occur over instances which we can't control. Typically something in the future, when we overthink something, when we are unable to control situations. These are typical spaces where anxieties occur. So I think the first step would be recognizing what is it that is causing you anxiety. I realize how in every statement I'm saying recognition, awareness is usually the first step. So recognizing what are the concerns and situations that are causing you anxiety. Of course, if it is already manifesting like breathlessness, I would really suggest you talk to a professional about it. When you recognize what are the reasons for your anxiety, each reason will have to be dealt with differently. I can give my own personal example for this. I also have anxiety, especially separation anxiety. So I get very, anxious if I think about losing a loved one, or going far away from a loved one. Now, these are things which I can't control, right? I can't control losing a loved one. It's not in my hands. So I first recognized why is it I get anxious? It's because I feel that I will not be able to handle myself in one way if I do not have that loved one. Or I just don't want to think of a universe where that loved one is not there. I just don't want to be far from them. So that's where it's stemming from. Also, another space it's stemming from is from my childhood. So once I recognized where it's stemming from, I was able to pinpoint solutions for it. I started understanding that yes, as much as it is very difficult for me to understand that loved ones, if loss of a loved one will be coming at me at some point in my life, I started realizing that, okay, I'm feeling anxious about a day in the future. But what I can instead do is I can focus on my day with them today. So today, if I'm with that loved one, how can I extract the maximum positivity out of today and live today to the fullest, so that tomorrow, if this is not available to me, I can rely on my memories. So this is just an example of how I have dealt with one of my anxieties. But as I said, very vast thing, talk to a professional if it kind of persists. Monica, why scared of human beings? You'll have to be a little more specific and detailed than that, Monica, for me to understand what you're asking. Why do people think that silent people show attitude? Okay, it's a miscommunication. Typically, we think that people get silent only when they are either angry or aloof, or sometimes we think they're better than us and things like that. So it could be a misunderstanding. So an easy way to kind of get through that, and I have seen this work. Let's say you're meeting a new set of people for the first time. I just drop in this thing saying, hi guys, after all the introductions are all over, I just say, yeah, that I'm a little on the quiet side. I would love to listen more than I would love to talk. So just telling and letting people know that this is who you are, I think that should help in combating this, why do they think that? I think it's a stereotype, but yeah, you can combat it this way. Okay, Avinash, how can we cope with stress and anxiety? So stress we went through, and as I said, anxiety also certain things that I spoke about, but again, it's a very vast topic. So if you guys want, we can make another workshop of that. We do have it. So it will take a long time for me to answer that. In case you want further information on this, I will just leave in my email ID here. You can always write to me if there's anything specific, because how to deal with stress and anxiety is a question which is very vast, right? So many types of stresses and anxieties. So in case there's anything specific you want to know about, just write to me and we'll go over that. But otherwise, I think the basic things are, maintaining good lifestyles and maintaining a happy mental well-being. That's a very good, having a good mental well-being and a mental status is a good way to cope with stress and anxiety. And I think everything we discussed in our workshop today, all of those are steps towards combating stress and anxiety. So I hope you were able to catch some of the things from our workshop today. Okay.
There are still number of questions are there, madam. Shall we conclude or we will go with the questions?
It's up to you, sir, because if need be, I have anyway provided my email ID. So if people want, they can always mail their questions to me and I can answer them. No worries.
Okay, thank you, madam, for giving a wonderful talk. Now I request Professor Anil Chikmanar, sir, the staff secretary of the college, please give vote of thanks. Anil Kumar Chikmanar, sir. Over to Anil Kumar Chikmanar, sir. Hello. Hello. Hello.
So you're audible.
Audible, sir.
Anil Kumar, sir. Are you there? Mostly not there. Okay. Thank you, madam.
Try to unmute now.
Hello, sir.
Sir, please go ahead.
Because you are not, now you have unmuted my microphone now. Sir, is my voice is audible to you all?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Hangarge sir, for providing me a vote of thanks. Really, I am very much thankful to Sharna madam, who has very beautifully explained the mental stresses and different aspects in the webinars. Really, madam's knowledge to us has quite useful, especially in the corona pandemic periods. And I'm sure that some of the methods, whatever you have shown during your lectures, are quite useful for us to adopt in day-to-day life. Also, madam, your ideas, your lectures, your thoughts, that what I have keep on noticing in your entire webinars is a highly appreciable one. And I am on the behalf of my college, that is Karnataka Arts, Science, Commerce College, Bidar, and from the behalf of all the participants, I am very much thankful to you, madam, for delivering such an wonderful lectures for us. Thank you, madam. I am also thankful to our principal, Dr. Jagannath Hebbale sir, who had provided an opportunity for the Mallikarjun Hangargi sir, who is the vice principal and the IQC coordinator, to set up such an wonderful webinar in collaborations with our college. I am thankful to our principal sir also. I am also thankful to our vice principal, Dr. Mallikarjun Hangargi sir, who has very nicely organized these webinars, taken lots of efforts in organizing this of the webinars. Sir, I am very much thankful to you for organizing such an wonderful and useful webinars. Last but never the least, I am thankful to all the participants who has actively participated in this of the webinars, and your questions raised to our resource persons are the best proofs that how much interest you have shown it in this of the webinars. On the behalf of the college, I am very much thankful to all the participants. Thank you. Thank you one and all.
Thank you.
And now I will hand over the mic to Dr. Mallikarjun Hangargi sir.
Thank you one and all. Shall we leave, madam?
Yes, sir. Thank you so
Thank you very much,
everyone. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sharanya. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, sir. So, I'll keep the meeting open for a few more minutes so that they can fill the attendance form.